Hello and welcome to another episode of Ken Training, where we want to give you the training that you need to tackle projects like this one on your own. Today's training is going to be on manual J HVAC heat load calculations. We're going to do a manual J speed sheet, Excel speed sheet example of a 1,500 square foot ranch that's located in Texas. And I'm going to show you manual J, the speed sheet, and I'm going to show you a form that I also made up on my own to make filling out the manual J easier, because the manual J is clumsy by itself. So I went through a lot of things in order to bring you this data. I'm going to try to give you the best content possible in the shortest time frame possible, and I only ask for you to do one thing for me, and that is to smash that like button down for me right now. Thank you. And with that, let's go on with the show. Okay, now basically I'm going to show you two Excel documents. The first one is going to be the manual J speed sheet. The second document is going to be the what I did for Ken Training for me was to make my life easier. I made up this template in an effort to put in the room information, the width of the floor width and floor length, and all the information about the space that I'm trying to get my data from. This is all the data that you need in an effort to fill out the manual J. So it's easier for me to fill out this information, then go to the manual J and fill out the information required here in an effort to go to the summary, in an effort to produce the data that you're looking for. The data that you're looking for is going to be in this column here, how many BTUs of heat loss, BTUs of heat gain. Scroll down here a little bit and it gives you your totals. But I don't want to go through that yet. I want to show you how we get to that point. Now, the home that we're going to be doing is just it's going to be this home right here, which is really just a fictitious home that I was able to pull up some blueprints off of the internet, which gave me the dimensions. So since I was able to get the dimensions off of it, I was able to fill in a lot of the information needed to fill out the manual J. Now, all the forms that I'm showing you, this PowerPoint presentation, plus these two Excel documents, are available for you for free on my website that I have, which is Ken Training Wix site and so forth. I'm going to leave a link down below, and you have access to the PowerPoint presentation and as well as the manual J speed sheet, which is right here, the blank one, plus the one that I created as my own personal template, and plus the 1,500 square foot ranch example on my template, as well as the manual J. So this way you'll see, you'll have access to all of these things here so that you can see it. I even put in my own personal home, which I can see I've got this is the first floor of my home and the second floor of my home. So you could even see another example of my own residence for those there. I also have some other HVAC forms on here, so you can explore that as you want to. But, oh, and by the way, also when it comes to the internet, we also have my YouTube channel. And of course, I've got a lot of videos there. You just type into the search bar HVAC and hit enter, and you'll have all of the HVAC videos that I did throughout the years. But so you can check that out as you want to. Okay, now with that, The home that we are going to be focusing on is this 3-bedroom, single-story ranch home. Here is the dimensions. You can see the home right here. And then I've got some breakdown of the dimensions of the room. Now, and I also put in here where north, south, east, and west is. And I've got that on pretty much every page because you need to know that when you're filling out your Manual J. Okay, so I just want to let you know this is the data that we're going to be filling in. Now, on this sheet here, let me just blow it up a little bit here. So on Manual J, I'll go to table 1A, and you have to have a location of the property. Now in this case, what I did is I took a home, even though this particular home is just a fictitious home that is I was able to get the dimensions for off of the internet. There is an actual home that I just went through and did a Zillow search for a 3-bedroom, 1,500 square foot ranch on Zillow. And this particular home came up as for sale. And it's not identical, but it's close enough for our purposes. So it has an actual street address. So this street address in Grand Prairie, Texas, with this zip code was where I went to in an effort to get this information down here. This information down here is your heating 99% dry bulb temperature and also your cooling 1%. So the 26 and the 98 for the Fort Worth, Dallas area. That's the information that you're going to fill into on form J1 up here at the top. So if you can, let me just blow that up to make this a little bit easier for everyone to see. And over here you can see that the project is the 3-bedroom ranch, Ken Training. If this indoor design heating dry bulb and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, indoor design cooling 75 degrees Fahrenheit, those are constants. Those really aren't going to change, and we're striving for 50% relative humidity. The state is Texas, and then when you go to Texas on the Manual J speed sheet, there is a drop down here and it gives you certain cities, and this particular one was the closest one I could find to Grand Prairie. Now it gives you the heating and cooling temperature difference and your outdoor design temperatures. Now these can be overwritten. Now on our in our Manual J table, it told us that we needed to have 26 for the heating and 98 for the cooling. So when you go over here to J1, form J1, you'll see that I put in there 26 and 98, and that's where your heating temperature difference and your cooling temperature difference, which is the temperature difference from the Manual J table 1A numbers compared to your set point numbers that you're striving for. So that gives you your temperature difference. That's where those numbers come from. This data is important because you need to know how much, what temperature difference under the design conditions that you're trying to achieve while you are filling out your Manual J. Now, when it comes to the Manual J speed sheet, the most confusing portion of this project is going to be the glass tab. This section over here is really what is the very confusing section. And in my house, because of the way that the glass section works, even though my house is a 2-story dwelling, on my house I had to do 2 separate Manual J speed sheets, one for the first level, one for the second level, because the glass, otherwise known as fenestration, was so I have so much different fenestration on my property at my own house that I had to break it down for the first, a separate sheet for the first floor and a separate sheet for the second floor. But in our example of this 3-bedroom ranch home, I was able to capture everything. It actually took every single line, but I was able to do it in an effort to get all the information that we needed. So the glass is where we want to start. And so first thing I want to do is I want to fill out this sheet here. This is a sheet that I made up with in an effort to fill out the manual J easier. This is just my own personal sheet that I created in an effort to fill out the manual J information easier. Now, you'll need to know what your room names are. Let me just blow that up so you can see that a little bit better. What your room names are, and then you have to put all those rooms down. So the way that I did this is I go over to this PowerPoint and I go to the residence and I go walk in the front door. That is the living room. Then I go clockwise around the property. So living room, bedroom 1, common area bathroom, bedroom 2, dining room, kitchen, laundry, master closet, master bath, master bedroom, and then back to the living room. So when you look at this here, this information kind of mimics that direction and organization: living room, bedroom 1, common, and so forth. Now, let's start off with the first room. This is the living room. So we go over and we want to know the floor length, width, and length. So when we come over here and we look at the living room, and I've got 2 different pictures here to give me different dimensions, but basically it's 20 feet by 17 feet is the living room. So when we come over here, it's 17 feet wide by 20 feet in length. The floor slab perimeter in feet, this column, this one right here, you want to know, we need to know a few things about this property. Let's go over to the first page here again. This property, 3125 Lizette Street, Grand Prairie, Texas, has wood siding. It's a slab on grade. It has dual pane windows with solid wood doors. You can see 2 front doors here. You can see a laundry door here. And although it's not easy to see, there is a slider door here that it actually has 40 square feet. Hold on one second. Got a little bit of a mistake there. Okay, 40 square feet. Save that. Now, the walls are 2x4 walls with R13 insulation. The flooring is all carpet except there's tile in the kitchen, bath, and laundry. So here are some specifications, and this house is a slab on grade. There's no insulation on this slab. What you need to know is that if it's a slab on grade, that there's no insulation, and you need to know the perimeter, because as far as heat transfer goes, the heat transfer is going to be where the slab reaches the end of the residence, and it's that perimeter, the perimeter all the way around the slab. Those are the dimensions that we want to put in this section right here: floor, slab, perimeter, and feet. So any one of these rooms, if it has floor, slab, perimeter, we want to know what that distance is. All these dimensions are going to be done in feet. Now, looking at the living room and going across, we need to know if we have any, average ceiling height. So I did, for the property, I just left it uniform, 8 feet is the average ceiling height in every single room of this residence. Now, we need to know if we have exterior walls. The only walls that we're interested in, if you'll notice this section right here, right there, only note exterior and partition items. A partition wall is a wall that would be, if this house had a garage between the interior residence and the garage, that wall would be called a partition wall. But on our property, we don't have a garage, so we don't have any partition walls that we need to be concerned with. So we don't need to worry about that, but we do need to worry about exterior walls. So first thing we want to do when we look at the living room, do we have any exterior walls? We know that on the south side of the building, we have an exterior wall. We know that the dimension of that wall is 20 feet because we have it right here. And there's a door that takes up 33.3 square feet in this front door area. Okay, so we have some data here that we need to put into our spreadsheet. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to put in the square footage of the south wall. Now in this case, that square footage is going to be 20 times 8. Well, 20 times 8 gives you 160 square feet on the south wall. Now, do we have any windows that are in any of the walls? Going to our drawing on page 1, there are 2 windows. Now, these windows on all this side here, each window is 12.5 square feet. So, going back to the Excel spreadsheet, 12.5 plus 12.5 is 25 square feet of south wall windows. Do we have any doors? We do have a pair of doors that occupy 33.3 square feet. Now, I want to show you something here as we scroll across. You'll notice that when you put then your doors and your windows, let me just take out that 25 and make that 0 real fast. Okay, now you'll notice that on the south wall's net square feet, it's 126.7. When I put in my 25 square feet for the windows and hit enter, that automatically adjusted for the south wall net, changed it to it subtracted automatically. So because you have windows and doors on your south wall and you have the south wall square footage in here, my spreadsheet is going to automatically give you the subtraction so that in this column you're going to have your total net walls. If it would add up all the walls, if it was, as an example, if the property is a corner like this and you have perimeter walls along the south side and west side of the building, well, the sheet will give you automatically, will do the math for you, and it will tell you the total net walls in square feet. Now, moving on with our Excel sheet here. This here, which is the wall insulation, you have to get that from Manual J. Now, I have a Manual J, and that is where I went to table 4A-12 in an effort to look up the R13 insulation, and then there's specific codes that go with it. But it also gives you the U value. So I know that my U value is 0.091. I'm going to put that in. Total net windows square feet. Now when you click in that cell, you see you get a formula. If you double click in the cell, it will highlight the section that it is adding up. It's adding up all these windows. So that automatically does that for you on your total net windows in square feet that are in the living room. Also, on table from Manual J, on table 2A/3A, it's telling me what the U-value table is, and I'm going to go to this table in order to get the U-value of 0.57 for the windows. Now, there is a ceiling in this space that is against a temperature difference. When you click on that cell for the living room, you'll see that it gives you a formula of B4 times C4. That's the floor square footages. You can override that if you had a vaulted ceiling and you knew the length and width of your vaulted ceiling. You could override that and put that number in. But in our case, it's a flat ceiling, so we can use the numbers based off of the floor's square footage. Going back to Manual J, table 4A16, that gives you the ceiling insulation number, and it gives you the ceiling U value for the ceiling that we're dealing with. And you need to know how much insulation you have in an effort to do that. So you need to know this is all the information that you need to come up with in order to fill out your Manual J information. Now, the total net doors is going to be the sum of all your doors that are in there. The U value, I didn't actually write that out there, but I'm sure that I got that U value from the opaque panels, which I believe is in table 4 of Manual J. Now, the total net square feet is right there, and there's some other information, and there's one fireplace in the unit. When we go to look at the floor plan, right there is a fireplace. When you look at the picture, you can see the fireplace right in the living room, right coming off of the living room, going through the roof. Okay, so now that we have our information for the living room, we can start to fill out our Manual J speed sheet. Now, we're going to start with the column labeled glass, and we're going to start with the living room, okay? Now, one other thing that I did was I went to the floor plan of the residence, and starting in the living room, I wrote down and gave this window a number. I give all my windows numbers, and I go in clockwise direction. So window 1, window 2, window 3, 4, and so forth. Now, when we fill out the program wants to know if there's an overhang in front of the window. Now, when you look here, you'll notice that there is a major overhang that comes up in a vaulted fashion in front of these two windows, which are for the living room. So these two windows can actually be grouped together, windows 1 and window 2. So when we go to our Manual J speed sheet, right here you can see, and let me blow that up in case you can't see it, I was able to combine windows 1 and 2. And then I write this information down right here, right on the speed sheet, because when you do the glass, the first thing you need to do is you need to fill it out here. Now, let's talk about the information that I'm putting down here. So I put down windows 1 and 2, comma, the direction that those windows, the wall that they're on, in this case it's the south. I wrote down that it is for the living room. They are dual pane. Now, 5-12.7-5. What is that? When you go over here to the glass schedule, let me blow that up so you can see that really nice and easy. When you go to the glass schedule, there are 3 things that this wants you to fill out. The white section is what they want you to fill out. Well, you have to fill out these too, but these are on a drop down. Now, you need to fill out the height of the window opening, H. It tells you right here what H is. The overhang distance, X. X is the distance from here to the amount of the overhang. Top of opening to overhang Y, which is the distance from the top of the window to the overhang. That's distance Y. Now, let's go back to my Excel spreadsheet in an effort to help me fill out this speed sheet. Now, I showed you the summary information. There's another tab down here called Fenestration. Now, I'm going to blow that up so you can see that a little bit easier. And it's based off of, let me just shrink that up a little bit. It's based off of what's going on in the manual J. So we're going to start with the living room. I gave my windows a number, windows 1 and 2, south, DP, dual pane. In the south, the south wall square foot, it is 12.5 south wall window square feet. That's actually wrong. That actually should be 25. That's a mistake. Okay, because there's 2 windows. I know there's 2 windows in the living room because I remember it. Okay. In this case, this isn't quite so critical. You really don't even need to know that, but it's not bad information for you to put that down here. But the more accurate your data is, it'll help you to stay on track of what's going on. Now, going through this line here, okay, width of window opening. The width of each window is 2.5 feet. The height of the window opening is 5 feet. The overhang distance, which we know is 12.7 feet because we have the distance is located right here in front of these 2 windows. We know that it's 8 feet plus 4.8 feet, and that's where you get your 12.8 feet. And go back over to here. It should be actually 12.8 feet, okay? And then the top of the overhang from the window, top of the window to the top of the overhang. So that is the distance from the top of the window. Now in this case, it's got a vaulted roof. So you have to go up, and that equals 5 feet. This is all the information you need for each window going all the way around the residence. And I'm showing you the windows in the living room as an example because this is how you fill out your speed sheet. Now, going back to the speed sheet, going back to glass, that's where this information, so that one there should actually be 12.8 because it's 12.8 feet. So I'll make a small adjustment right there. So you can see that windows 1 and 2, south living room, dual pane, 5-12.8-5, comma, 12.5 square feet. Each window is 12.5 square feet, okay? And then this data here I got from table 2A and 3A out of manual J. So you still need manual J to give you this data. But once you have the data, you can put that into the speed sheet. Now, you're going to get this data here from table 2A, and you get this data here from table 3A, depending upon what windows that you are dealing with. And that's where you get that. What else? These are examples down here that they give you, but I'm not really concerned about that. We have our data, so we are good to go. Then you come over here to the glass schedule. Now, remember I made a change under, hold on, let me go to glass. I changed a digit here from 0.7 to 0.8. Come over here to glass schedule. This one hasn't updated yet. So watch, I have to hit this. And so because that hasn't updated yet, let me just show you on Form J1. Notice how you have this number sign and it says NA. Make sure you can see that real well here. So that's telling you that there's something wrong with your equation. And I can tell you what's wrong right now. come over here to your glass schedule, and because I made a change in this section here, I now need to update this section right here so that everything coincides. Let me just bring that over so you can see it. There's a drop down. I'm going to hit the drop down, and then here's the one that I changed. Now it says 12.8. All the rest of the data is fine. The height of the opening, now you'll notice that the 5 and the 5 here match because I put the data right in my description so that when I fill this out, except for this one here, let's change that from 0.7 to 0.8 because there was actually, I had a mistake there originally and we corrected it. Now, 5, 12.8, and 5. Those are the numbers right here. 25 square foot per window. Adjustment for a projected window or a French door. We don't have a garden window and we don't have a French door. Do we have a bug screen? Yes, we do. All of our windows have bug screens because we don't live in the ghetto. Okay? Now, that is your glass schedule. Come over here to your Form J1, and that is the top line here is going to match. This is all under glass windows and glass doors. That is all going to match the top line. These are all in the same orientation as right here. That is all staying in the same orientation. So when you start here on the glass tab, all your glass stays in the same orientation. You go to the glass schedule, stays in the same orientation. You come over here to the J1 form, it all stays in the same orientation, okay? Now, when we filling out our house and putting our information in, we put in that it was a 3-bedroom ranch. We put in it was in Texas because we have a drop-down arrow here to choose our state. Once we chose the state, we use the drop-down arrow here to choose the closest location to our property of Grand Prairie, which is in Fort Worth, Texas. So we got Fort Worth, Texas. We were able to override the numbers that automatically populated because we actually have the J1 Table 1A information, Manual J Table 1A information to populate for Grand Prairie, Texas. So we put that in right there to give us the best heating temperature difference and cooling temperature differences that are the most accurate for our property. Now, remember how I told you how I like to, let me see here, hold on one second. Let me shrink this up a little bit so you can see this a little bit better. Now, you need to take your rooms, that's this section right here, your rooms, and you need to start filling out your rooms. So I start with the living room, I go to bedroom 1, I go to the common area bathroom, the exact same procedure. When I go through the residence, I go through the front door. I start in the room that I entered into, and I go clockwise around the residence. My Manual J is filled out the exact same way. The first room is the living room. The second room is bedroom 1. The third room is the common area bathroom. And as you scroll down, all the rest of the property is all in there in that same orientation. So I'm always keeping myself in the same, I'm trying to keep all my data the same in every single one of my areas that I'm looking at data. I want it to all be uniform and all be the same. This will help, again, keep you on track. On my own personal sheet, when you looked at my summary data tab down here, all of this information is in the exact same way that I fill out the Manual J on the rooms. But let's just focus on the living room right now. And we're focusing in on the windows. We know that we have our data right here, and the blue gets populated automatically. You fill out the white sections. Well, we have 2 windows in the living room, and those windows total 25 square feet, We know that. So we're going to put that there. That is also here. When we go to our windows, we know that it's 25 square feet of windows in the living room, okay? So what else? And you have to do this for every single room and every single window. And that's why I have a separate fenestration tab. Again, I know this is, if you're new to Manual J, I understand this is highly confusing, but this is why I created this second spreadsheet to help me fill out my data, to help me fill out the Manual J, and to make sure that I'm on track. When you're going through the property and you're getting your dimensions and your measurements, by filling out this summary data and making sure you have it all, that will make sure that you have all the data you need to fill out your Manual J, okay? All right, now let's move on. You have all the windows necessary for the living room. Now, as we scroll down, the next thing that we need to take into account for the living room is going to be doors. So if you hit the Doors tab, which is right here, that is going to tell you about your doors. Now, on our doors, we have a front and laundry door that are solid wood. You have to go to Manual J Table 4 and under section number 11D, I was able to get the U value for the doors. It tells you Table 4. Let me just blow that up just in case that's hard for you to see. Table 4A right there. So you're going to go to Table 4A, and what you want to populate here is that U value for your doors. Go to Form J1 down here at the bottom, hit that tab. Go to your doors. There'll be a drop down here if you have more than one door. In my case, I have solid wood doors. When you're looking at the residence, this is a solid wood door, and the laundry room is a solid wood door. There is a door here, but I put that door, sliding glass door, under fenestration. So when you go to my Manual J and you go to glass and you go to this one here, you'll notice I have a sliding glass door. I put it down under fenestration because it's a sliding glass door. It's mostly glass. So in this case, I'm fine to putting that down under a fenestration value. Okay, now going back to our J1, we filled out our door information on the doors, which is right here. Okay, we come over here to Form J1, and the white section that it wants you to fill out for the front and laundry doors is it wants to know the number of square feet. When you go to the sheet that we filled out for the living room, there is a door on the south wall, and it is 33.3 square feet. You come over here to J1, and I actually put in 33.3, but the program automatically kicked out my 0.3 and just made it 33 square feet. So that was the value that the program put in when I put in my square footage. I put the actual square footage, 33.3, but they visually show it here as 33. But it knows in the background it's 33.3. So don't be alarmed if you see rounding. The program rounds the numbers. Now, the next item here is above grade walls. Does our living room have above grade walls that have a temperature difference across them? Of course it does. So we need to go to our Walls tab here. What type of walls do we have? Well, I told you when we were looking at this here. Right here, I told you that the walls are 2x4 walls with an R13 insulation. Come over here and, hold on, this is on my own sheet here. Let's go over to the Manual J. And when you look at the walls, it's the code that I acquired for the R13 was code 12C-0SW, wood siding, R13, and it is siding with wood studs. And the U value is 0.091, and it's in group C. You can get all that information from your Manual J book. When you come over here to J1 tab, and you hit your drop down, there's only one because I only put in one wall for the whole property. If you have multiple walls, you can put in different walls for around the property, but in our case, it's one wall. Now I put down here that wall has 102 square feet. Where did you get that number, Ken? Come over here to the cheat sheet, the Ken Training cheat sheet for your living room, and you want to know what your total net wall is, and it's 101.7 right there. Now let's look and see what I put in. If you click here, 101.7, the computer program rounded it out to 102. That's where that number came from. Now, coming down our list here, we don't have partition walls. We don't have below grade walls. There's no basement in this residence. We do have ceilings. Go to your ceilings tab right here. You're going to click on ceilings, and you need to go to, let me just blow that up so you can see it. You need to go to table 4A on your Manual J, and in my case, it's section 16D-21 to give me my ceiling with an FHA, Federal Housing Authority vented attic, with an R21 insulation gives me that U value of 0.044 with a cooling load temperature difference of 23. Now, see here, you'll notice that the cooling load temperature difference 23 matches my cooling load temperature difference right there. That's where I populated that information. That is my ceiling. Come over to my J1 tab. Looking at my ceilings, let me just scroll up a little bit and make that slightly bigger so you can see it. Okay, ceilings. I got my ceilings. That gives you a drop down. I only have one ceiling for the whole property. And under living room, 340 square feet. Where'd you get that, Ken? Well, I already knew from my living room what my floor width and length was. Scrolling down and across, I was able to get the ceiling right here of 340 square feet because the computer program already took that length times width of the floor area that we filled in the sheet with right over here, the floor width times the floor length to give us that 340. Well, that 340 is right there. We put that number in. Now, scrolling down, we don't have any partition ceilings. We don't have passive floors. What do we have? We have a slab perimeter floor. So you need to go to your floors tab down here. And wait one second. When you look at all your different types of floors, the only one I'm interested in is this one. And let me blow that up so you can see that nice and easy. Okay, this is and by the way, this is from table 4A, floors, and it's a slab on grade, construction number 22, slab on grade 22A-PM, and that gives me an F value because you have to choose the type of soil. Now in my book, I just chose the middle grade soil. When you look at the three options for your soil levels, light, medium, heavy, and heavy, you can, if you know your exact soil type, you can put that in. But in my case, I just put in the medium value. Okay? Now, coming over here, looking at our slab floor section, which is section 11. Drop down arrow, I only have one flooring, slab on grade. Now, you put down here 20. That is the amount of linear square feet, and it was also here in your cheat sheet. I told you that you needed to put down the floor, slab, perimeter in feet. There it is, 20 feet, and there it is, 20 feet right there. Now, let's scroll down. We put down that there's one average fireplace. The house is 1,500 square feet. We put that in. The above grade cubic feet, where'd you get 12,000, Ken? Well, we know that the house has 1,500 square feet, and we also know, looking at our cheat sheet, that the average ceiling height is 8 feet in the entire residence. So if you just simply take 8, multiply it by 1,500, that gives you 12,000 cubic feet of space for the residence that we're dealing with. Now, how many bedrooms does it have? It's a 3-bedroom residence. The program automatically will give you 4 residents. You need to put those residents somewhere. Now, where you want to put them, you'll notice that I did not put any resident in a living room because residents belong in the bedrooms. So I come down, bedroom 1, I gave that person that 1 resident. Scroll down more, bedroom 2, 1 resident. And then the master bedroom, scroll to the very end. Oh, come on. Master and bathroom, come on. Master bedroom. Uh-oh, did I miss 2 residents? I think I did. Look at that. Let's give 2 residents right there. Okay. That's a good thing to see that. Yeah. I try to be 100%. Oh, wait a minute. Master bathroom. I put them in the master bathroom. I'm going to take that out. So that's a delete. I put my 2 residents in the master bathroom. They belong in the master bedroom. Okay, that will help with your airflow calculations. When you go to your summary tab, the program is going to give you heating CFM and cooling CFM. If you look at my channel, you'll see I don't exactly trust these numbers. I have a complete video on why I don't trust these numbers, because heating CFM should be less than cooling CFM. The heating CFM should be about, let's just say 65% of cooling CFM. The program did these 2 numbers equal, 1,000 CFM and 1,000 CFM, and it gave us those numbers automatically. Check out my channel. I'll leave a link. Actually, just click up here and you'll see the video that I did completely explaining about why you need more airflow for your cooling than you do for your heating. But for now, let's just move on. This is why it's important when you fill out your form J1 with your occupants that you got the correct occupants in the correct bedroom, so that way your airflows and your heat load. What's more important over here in the summary tab for the master bedroom is actually the heat loss and heat gain, BTUs per hour. Those are the numbers where everything is derived off of for the sizing of your system and for your airflows. So that's why it's important to fill out the form as accurately as you humanly can. Okay, now we have, I've demonstrated to you all that information. Now let's go back to our living room and slab on grade, 20 feet. I scroll down and I just want to see if there's anything else left to populate. And there is not anything left for me to populate here. Filling out the form, I did tell you there's 1 fireplace. Oh, here we go. Internal gains. Now, you have choices here from 0, 12,000, or 24,000. I gave it 24,000. And as you scroll across, you need to allocate those 2,400 BTUs per hour into a room. Obviously, that will be the kitchen. So you scroll down until you find the kitchen. And there's our kitchen. And, hold on. Come on, computer. Oops. Come on, computer. Where's my 24? Oh, there it is right there. So there's the kitchen, and there's the appliance BTU, 2,400. And I gave my 2400 right there for the kitchen under cooling. The white cells are the ones you fill out. Okay, what else? Okay, so that is the appliance. You need to know what kind of duct system you have for the residents to fill out your manual J1 form. And you have options here. Now in my case, I chose the option 7A, which is the radial or spider supply air and return air located in the attic. Okay? You need to determine if your duct is insulated. R6 is pretty much the standard, so I chose R6. But if you have better insulation, you can go to an R8. If you have weak insulation, you can go to an R2. But R6 is really standard duct insulation. Leakage class. Oops, hold on. Here is your options for leakage class, and I believe I left mine at default, which defaulted to 0.12/0.24. If you have a furnace or a water heater located in the conditioned space. Now, looking at my floor plan, you do not have a water heater or a furnace in this space. So I'm going to just make an assumption that the water heater is located either up in the attic or outside of the residence. And in the attic of this residence is going to be the furnace. So no combustion air is needed inside of the conditioned space for our manual J. So I left these two boxes unchecked. And pretty much that is your manual J. You need to go through and fill out all your information for all of your different rooms with the same way that I just showed you that I filled out the living room. It would, and you see how much time it took for me just to show you the living room. So it's a time-consuming process to go through. It's cumbersome, let's just say, to do this. But if you want your heat load data and you want it from a manual J, and by the way, you can print this and take it down for permitting, because this should be accepted because it's an ACCA approved product, the American Air Conditioning Contractors Association. So you're going to have really good data. You'll be able to pull permits with this information. And as long as you're going to go through all this trouble, I say get the most accurate data that you possibly can. Now, once you fill out all your information, you're going to go to your summary tab, and there's going to be some great calculations here for your airflow and your heating and cooling BTUs. You want to scroll down here at the bottom, and you want to see what your sensible heat loss is, and that's going to be telling you that you need a furnace that's 22,000. Now, furnaces are sold in 20,000 BTU increments, and cooling, it says here that you need a total of 21,480, which if you round that out to 24,000 BTUs would tell you that you need a 2-ton air conditioning unit in order to satisfy this residence right here that is in Grand Prairie, Texas. On your heating unit, the manual J is telling you that you only need 22,000 BTUs. You need a hell of a, you need more capacity for your cooling. What size HVAC unit would I personally buy if this was my personal home and I lived in this residence right here? And if I had my manual J giving me this information, let me tell you what I would do. I would personally choose a unit that had probably 36,000 BTUs per hour, which is a 3-ton unit, for my furnace, but I would absolutely not choose a single stage. I would choose a two-stage furnace. That way I would, a two-stage compressor. So that way I could absolutely have two stages of cooling. So that way on those milder days when I did not need a full 3 tons, the house could be satisfied with 1.5 tons. Now, when it comes to the furnace, I would choose a furnace that is at least 40,000 BTU size furnace. And I would do that with two-stage on the heating. So I'd want a two-stage heating and two-stage cooling if this was my personal residence. And I told you the sizes that I would choose. I would want a 40,000 BTU furnace and a 36,000 BTU or 3-ton air conditioning system. And that would be me if it was my personal residence. What would you choose? Do you agree with that assessment that I'm making? If not, please leave your description down below of what size unit, because that's the whole reason that you're doing this Manual J, is to determine what size HVAC and heating this residence requires. The Manual J is giving you the information. The question is are you going to order that unit based 100% off of this, or are you going to adjust it slightly? So that is my take on what I would do if this was my residence. Okay, now don't forget, you can come over and get all of these forms. I'm going to leave a link down below. You can grab all of these Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoint documents, and everything that I presented for you today at my website. I'm going to leave you a link down below so that you can gain access to all of these free documents. Of course, subscribe to my channel, Ken Training, so you can explore all the videos that I produced. Here's that video right here that I told you about, why you need more air for cooling than for heating. There's the video right there. Okay, that is going to conclude this video. If you got any valuable information out of this video, please smash that like button for me right now. Check out my channel and subscribe to Ken Training. I will catch you on the flip side.